Jacob Staff writes, "Hey, just started watching the show and I have a question for you. Over the last 7 to 8 years, there has been speculation of the production of a Halo film based off the award-acclaimed games and books. The script and screenplay has had directors such as Peter Jackson's names attached to it, but was shelved due to fights between Universal and Paramount over rights to the film. Obviously, due to the success of the game alone, this would be a successful movie. However, with the transition from a game to film, what would be the biggest worries and things to look out for in the making of the film?"
Just a couple quick corrections, Jacob. The film didn't get shelved because of disagreements over rights. The film got shelved because the studios pulled their financing. Studios backed out. And one of the big reasons studios backed out, and this was a big thing going back to my movie blog days, they didn't get on board with where Peter Jackson wanted to go with it. And Peter Jackson wanted to bring this never directed before guy, Neil Blomkamp, who went on to direct District 9.
District 9.
But he had never directed a single film before. He had never been an assistant director on a single major motion picture before. And the studios kind of stood back and said, well, Peter, because they let Peter be the producer on it, they're like, Peter, you want to hand a $200 million film to a guy who's never directed a film before? And Peter said yes, and Peter would talk about all the time about how passionate he was about Halo, which fans like me then brought the question, well then, Peter Jackson, who I love, if you're so passionate about it, why aren't you directing it? Why don't you direct it? If you're that passionate about it and you're telling the truth that you're really that passionate about it, why don't you direct it? Because the studios would have been all over it. He said, no, let's get this kid who's never directed anything before and let him do it. And I said it was a bad idea. I still believe it was a bad idea, despite the fact that Neil went on to do a really good job with District 9. But District 9 was a movie he's made before. Like, he did a short film because it's his own material that he wrote. So that's a little bit different. And they made it for like $40 million. That's different than taking on material that you didn't create, that you haven't lived in that universe for 15 years already to make. And I thought it was a bad idea. So the studios, they wouldn't budge. So the studio said that we're pulling our financing. Now, every video game fan who loves a particular game always says, well, if they made this movie, it'll be successful. Well, out of the 40 plus video game movies that we've had, that has really proved to not be true. But I still think they should have made a Halo film like 4 years ago. Is Halo's as popular today as it was 4 years ago? No, it's just not. I mean,
Halo 3 was a huge success.
Huge,
huge.
Yeah, that doesn't matter. It was much bigger 5 years. Halo, the popularity of Halo 5-6 years ago was fanatical. It was crazy popular. Halo 3 is a very successful game, but Halo as a brand is not as popular and not as successful as it was 5-6 years ago when they should have made this movie. I still got to believe somewhere deep down that at some point, somebody's going to make this film. I just hope they do it sooner rather than later. But will it happen? I don't know, but I got to believe that it will. Amy Rose, what do you think?
I think Halo lends itself so great to a game. And, you know, there are very strong narratives, especially this one, sci-fi. It's just such a good one. Now, Neil Blomkamp, I would love to see him do this. Obviously, now he's proven that this is very much in his wheelhouse.
Yeah.
District 9 was amazing. Elysium, everything I've seen for it looks really epic. Matt Damon, Jodie Foster. I would love if they came back, the dynamic duo of Jackson and Blomkamp came back and did this film. I think it's really good. You do bring up a good point. While, you know, Halo 4, I think, sold like over 200 million copies, I think that it's really hard to obviously convert that on screen. We have had some successful films. Tomb Raider was a pretty decent success, and there's been a couple other, you know, games to film adaptations, but overall the audience is a little different, and sometimes people who will buy a game might not pay for it to see the movie. It doesn't always translate that way. I think we'll know a lot more coming up with Assassin's Creed with Michael Fassbender, and I think that's really going to help pave the way. But Halo really lends itself really well to a game, and you know, provided
to a movie.
To a movie. It's proven it's great as a game several times over. But yeah, it lends itself really well. The narrative, the story is really cool. And to get a really great up-and-coming sci-fi director like Blomkamp, I think that is the recipe for success. And I personally would really want to see this film.
Hey guys, if you like this video, hit the thumbs up button and make sure you subscribe to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. It's free and will keep you up to date on all the latest movie news, as well as our daily AMC Movie Talk Show. Also, be sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter to find out about our special promotions, contests, and prize giveaways.